What's good, everybody? It's John. Come back at you on another video. So I'm excited to record this video because this video is inspired by an actual event, an experience, an encounter that I had with someone, and that event inspired me to record this video. So this is the beauty of me being able to record video for you guys, because I can share moments of my life and share like learning lessons that I've had and moments and gems and nuggets here and there for you guys to help you guys become the best version of yourself as possible, become the best people, best version of human beings and people that exist, right? And the main idea for this video is a title, and the title is to please don't let this be you. Now, when I use the word this, I'm referring to someone that is closed-minded, right? Someone that is stuck in their ways, right? Someone that's closed-minded. I'm going to invent a new word right here, right now, of someone that is experiencing closed-minded syndrome, right? That's what I decided to invent in this moment, right? There's people out there who experience severe cases of closed-minded syndrome, and they don't know it, but it is extremely detrimental to their experience here on earth, and very detrimental to just for their life in general. And with this video, I want to highlight this. Now, first and foremost, the most obvious reason why being closed-minded is detrimental, right? Here's a simple example, a simple illustration of how I can explain this, right? Just imagine this pen right here. This is someone who is an individual that's closed-minded, right? This is someone who's been stuck in their ways for many years and many decades, right? This is the person right here. This person has been this same person and has been in this same spot in life for many years. People think that if you're closed-minded, if you're just stuck in your ways, that like there's nothing wrong with it, that you're just, that you're just the same person, and so you've been in the same position. But what you need to remember is that in life, if you're not moving forward, you're actually moving back. Like you're actually headed backwards. And the reason for this, the logic behind this, is that the world is constantly advancing. The world is constantly moving forward. Technology is always improving. Technology is always changing, right? The world is always changing, and there's always going to be better ways of doing things, right? And so if you're someone who is closed-minded, you're just going to be operating the same exact way. And the problem with this, right, just how I mentioned that the world is constantly evolving and advancing, right? If we use this person as someone that's closed-minded and this hand as the world itself, right, over time, it's basically going to look like this, right? Like over time, the gap is going to be widening, right? Because even if this person doesn't move in life, right, that this pen stays the same, my hand, right, which is like the world and where it's at, technology and everything, my hand is constantly moving forward because this is the world advancing and this person is remaining in the same spot. So the gap is always going to keep getting wider and wider. People who are closed-minded, right, the reason why they are that way is a lot of times they might feel that their ideas and their beliefs and their way of operating is simply better or superior to all other ways of operating and functioning. But the problem with that is, if, for example, if someone is in a position where they're living life blissfully happy, because what you need to remember is the reason for us to be here, to exist, to be on planet Earth and to live this wonderful life experience, the goal is for us to experience outrageous joy. That is it. Our goal is not here to accomplish anything. Now, of course, accomplishing things can add to your happiness, and it could make you feel happy and feel good, because then if, it delivers you a sense of fulfillment, right? That, I like to think people feel good accomplishing things, right? We all feel good accomplishing things, right? So that can help towards your happiness. But your goal was never to actually accomplish anything. Your goal is to experience outrageous joy, and you can experience outrageous joy without having to accomplish anything. You can just be content with just existing, with just being here, being present in the moment, breathing, smiling, feeling good, enjoying the weather, right? You can have a fulfilling life just that way, right? You don't have to accomplish anything. You don't have to actually like really do anything. It's just we as humans, we want to do things. We want to accomplish them. We want to right? So it's just to experience outrageous joy. If someone was in a position where they were blissfully happy, where everything was absolutely amazing in their life, and that they had no complaints whatsoever. If that person decided to be closed-minded, then that would be more understanding, because then they're happy. They're serving their life's purpose, and they may not need anyone else's opinion or any additional information or et cetera, et cetera, right? If they're happy and content and everything's going well in their life, then I can understand why someone like that would choose to be closed-minded, right? Except the problem is that a lot of people who are closed-minded, who are dealing with closed-minded syndrome, these are typically people who are unhappy, who are frustrated with life, who are not in the position that they want to be in, who feel as though, you know, they're after a goal but feel as though they're not making any progress or are never going to get there, right? Like, these are people who are unhappy, unfulfilled. So if you are unhappy and unfulfilled, right, then you are clearly very far away from your goal, from the reason that we were put here on earth. So if anything, these are the individuals that should be the most open-minded, because then they're able to learn new ideas or come across new ideas, hear thoughts from people, hear opinions, right? So then they can get better, right? For me, I've lost count of how many people that I've come across that have been experiencing closed-minded syndrome. And even though they're unhappy and unsatisfied and unfulfilled with their life, because they're closed-minded, they're stuck in their ways. They think that their ideas, their opinions, their beliefs are just superior, but yet their life and how they feel about life proves otherwise, right? Like, if I have a way of doing something, and if I come across an idea from someone, or an idea somewhere of a better way of doing it, of doing something, then I would much rather adopt that idea or that concept or that belief and apply it to my life so that my life can improve, right? Like, I would think that that's probably common sense for a lot of folks out there. It could be ego, it could be pride that's leading them to be closed-minded, but for a lot of people, they suffer with that, and then they wonder why they end up getting left behind in life and in the world. And it's because the world is always changing, it's always improving, it's always getting better. And if you remain the same, then you're effectively being left behind with the rest of the world, right? Being open-minded should always be, a priority for people, because you need to remember that there's always going to be a better way of doing it. Even if right now, even if today, in this moment, there's one, best way or one better way of doing everything, right? That may be the case today, but it may not be the case tomorrow. It may not be the case next month or next year, right? And that's with all things in life, right? You may think that you're that you're doing something a great way, but then maybe someone comes across, creates a better idea, and then if it's a better idea, right, it's like you might as well just adopt that idea. You might as well just adopt that way of living and operating, right? Because why not? If there's a new way of operating that is better than your previous way of operating, and there's no downsides, it's like, why not adopt that belief, right? I just think that there's people who just have so much pride and ego that they have to be the ones to figure it out and do it by themselves, when no one ever does it or do it by themselves, right? It takes a village to raise people, right? And we learn from the experience of other people, we learn from other people in the form of information, in the form of lessons, in the form of experiences, right? It's like no one ever does it by themselves, right? If you did it by yourself, then the only way you would do it by yourself if you lived in a world by yourself, which you don't, right? You live with other people, you coexist, and you share the same space. So when I say please don't let this be you, this is being closed-minded, right? If you're closed-minded, then you're effectively rejecting all other ideas, all other perspectives, and that's silly, because we're in a world where everyone is different, everyone is unique, so everyone is always going to have a different perspective on things, because everyone has had different life experiences. They've learned different information. They learn, like, they've had different sort of relationships with other human beings, right? Different life stories. So it's like, to be closed-minded, then you're effectively rejecting all other perspectives, all other ideas and beliefs. And to me, that's absolutely silly. If I'm somewhere where, if I have a goal and dream of being somewhere, right? Say, for example, I envision of getting to point Z and currently I'm at point A. I can probably have some sort of, like, idea or plan of action or something of how I want to get to point Z. But like if I come across a new idea of someone who arrived, like someone who's already been to point Z of where I want to go, and they say, okay, you want to do XYZ, and the XYZ action steps are better than the action steps that I was planning to take. There's no need for me to reinvent the wheel. If I can see how taking XYZ action steps can get you to point Z, right? Then I might as well just adopt that and follow the same step, follow the same blueprint, right? There's no reason for me to be filled with so much pride and ego that I just have to be the one to figure it out, right? Like life isn't about that. Life is about enjoyment. Life is about experiences. It's about learning from other people. It's about constantly getting better and growing and improving, right? There's some people who have remained the same person for decades, and they already don't have a pleasing personality. They're already not a pleasing person to be around. They can have a nasty personality, nasty energy, negative energy, and yeah, it's obvious to other people, and it might even be obvious to them, and yet they don't do anything about it, right? It's like, why would you want to be operating with a nasty energy, nasty mentality, right? These are people that, right, like you know it as well. You've come across these people as well, that being negative is their natural state, right? And that's not beneficial to anyone. It's not beneficial to them. It's not beneficial to anyone. It's like you don't need to be operating that way, right? And that also stems from, of course, being closed-minded, right? There's just some people who are just, even though their life is not where they want it to be, there's just some people, for whatever reason, are just not interested in growing and improving. And these are people that, unfortunately, you just have to accept them the way they are, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, and this was something that I came across many years ago that I read somewhere, and it honestly like shook me to my core because of how true it was, right? Is that if someone complains about something nonstop and they don't do anything about it, then whether they want to admit it or not, they're actually content where they're at in life, right? Like if there's someone who for year after year after year complains about, being out of shape, or they complain about, their financial situation, and they never choose to do anything about it, or never choose to, improve it or take any sort of action or just get better, whatever it is, right? If they just remain the same person, don't do anything about it, then whether they want to admit it or not, they're content with the position that they're in. Because if they weren't, they would have done something about it, as much as they complain, right? So that's the way I see it. It's like someone who's frustrated with life and yet still chooses to be closed-minded, still chooses to not learn any new information or get better or grow, and they're just complaining and talking about how hard life is and how unfair it all is. That just tells me that whether that person wants to believe it or not, that they're actually content in the position that they're in. And what you need to remember is this: that there are so many folks out there who are always praying to catch a break, who are praying for life to get easier, who are praying for, right? For me, I'm not going to do that, because I would much rather just get better myself so that the rest of life can be easier, can go better and be easier for me. As I continue getting better and continue improving and continue investing in myself, then by default, I'm going to continue leveling up. So as I continue leveling up, everything else is just going to flow easy and effortlessly, right? And then when you get to the point where everything is flowing easy and effortless, you'll realize that it was all because of the investment that you made in yourself, right? If you remain closed-minded, if you experience or are dealing with closed-minded syndrome, how do you expect to ever get better and improve, right? Because you already know what you know. You already know the information, the ideas, and the thoughts that you already have in your head. So if you already know everything you know, chances are, right, the way you're operating, you're likely doing things, because I like to think people are trying the best that they can, right? At least in a lot of areas, right? I give people the benefit of the doubt. So you're doing things, the way you've been operating in life is based on the information that you know and the knowledge that you have in your head. So a lot of times, in order for you to begin doing things differently, you need to come across new ideas, new information, new knowledge, new beliefs from other people so that you can begin thinking differently and then operate differently and then get different results. But the reason why a lot of folks get the same results and they've been in the same spot for decades is because they've remained closed-minded and they've been the same person. They've never picked up a book. They've never come across a course. They've never listened to an audio because they think that after they finish school, that learning is done. When in actuality, once you finish school and you're not an adult in the real world, right? That is a blessing because now you can head in the direction that you want to head. You can learn the information that you want to learn, not learn the information that's required for you to learn to graduate, right? You can now learn the information that you want to learn. And if you want to continue improving and getting better, you can do that, right? And there's folks out there who complain decade after decade after decade about how hard life is and how unfair it is and how they were just born unlucky, not knowing that they have divine power within them, that they can create whatever it is that they want, that they are in fact valuable, and that the world does in fact need them. Everyone else in the world needs them. It's just they just don't know it. The rest of the world just doesn't know who they are, right? If you operated with that belief that everyone knows you, that everyone needs you, you are going to look at yourself differently. You're going to hold yourself up high, right? You are going to cherish yourself and appreciate yourself. This is what it all is, right? When I say please don't let this be you, please don't let yourself be someone that's closed-minded, because these are people that stay in the same spot. And these are people that are difficult to work with, that oftentimes have a nasty personality because they're angry, they're frustrated with themselves and life, and they never do anything about it. And I refuse to be that. And I want this channel to be a safe space where you can continue growing and getting better and improving. The only way for you to do that is by being open-minded, by being open to all the ideas, to the new ideas, to the new thoughts, to the new things that come across your way, so that you can, if you see something, an idea that's better than the idea that you have, because we all have faulty beliefs, we all have limiting beliefs, you can eliminate that by coming across new ideas and beliefs from other people, new ideas and beliefs, new ways of operating. And as you do that, you get better, you improve, and then the rest of your life gets better and becomes easier because you have gotten better. So strive to become open-minded and to be open to the ideas and the perspective of other people, because as you open your mind up, that's when the possibilities in life opens up. And as you have more possibilities, right, like these are effectively more opportunities for you to succeed and win. So when I say please don't let this be you, I'm referring to the closed-minded syndrome, because that is extremely dangerous. And there's so many people who fell into the trap of it, and because they're so closed-minded, they don't know that they're closed-minded, right? Like they don't know, they can't see it, they can't process it, they can't understand it, because they are so far gone. And I'm here to tell you to do your best to stay open-minded, do your best to be open to the ideas and the possibilities, because that is how you grow and get better and improve. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe as you're on the road to main subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.